Everybody can use a good side taste.
Yeah, I'm interested in the legal end of things. So like,
Yeah.
is it legal or is it illegal to collude? Do you know?
No, that's not illegal.
To collude with a foreign government?
Because what Rudy Giuliani said, there's no crime called collusion.
Well, isn't it like? I mean, come on, dude. He was on the news going, Russia, if you're listening, we'd love to see those emails.
So there's no crime.
And then, if they can prove that these people had meetings with top Russian officials or KGB or whatever the fuck they call them, there's a new name for them now.
So the KGB's not around anymore?
No,
okay.
There's a new name.
Wow,
I can't remember what it is. Russian intelligence service of some kind. I can't remember.
So there's no crime called collusion, but there are very strict campaign laws. When you're running a campaign, there are some things you cannot do. For example, campaign finance laws. If you don't,
he pays off Stormy Daniels with campaign finance money.
And I think
then what?
And I think the problem was that he didn't report it. It wasn't reported, and I'm not even sure that even if he reported, if that would have cured it. But with the amount of money he paid her, if it was with,
and it wasn't
if,
just
if
her.
it was with,
apparently there was the other one,
right? If it was with finance funds or finance funds that was funneled through to something else and didn't pay, then yeah, that's bad.
Rudy Giuliani flat out said that funneled, like that word was used.
Yeah, did he? I didn't.
Yeah, dude, it's like you watch all those shows like Late Night with Seth Meyers or any of Stephen Colbert, and they say that they're like, it seems to be Rudy Giuliani is doing more damage than he is helping because he says stuff and then he's like, oh wait, no, I didn't.
That's not what I meant. You can't funnel that.
Listen,
you can't do that.
How can the president of the United States on Air Force One tell everyone, no, I did not know about the payments, and now later that there's proof of these things, he goes, okay, I knew about the payments. How is that okay? No matter what. They keep changing the goalposts is what it seems like. Oh, no, this never happened. There was none of this. Okay, there was, but it's not illegal.
That's not okay, and one argument that their side does make is that even if they did do this, even if they did commit this crime, it's only a federal misdemeanor. Does that change anything for you? It's still a crime, but it's still a federal misdemeanor. Not a felony.
Get out of office. Corrupt son of a bitch. Out. How come they hold the standard for Obama was so fucking high? Well, he couldn't get anything done. They're fighting him on every little tiny thing. And now this dude's fucking porn stars paying him off, grabbing women by the pussy, and all this other shit, and it's fine.
Listen,
no collusion, and even if there was, it doesn't matter.
Listen, if you would have told me 3 years ago that the next president would sleep with porn stars, grab them by the pussy, and wants to make a space force, I would have said, "Oh my God, this is the best president ever." Like, are you serious? This president's gonna be awesome.
What are you imagining in your mind, though? Was it a Shaft-looking motherfucker?
This is the coolest guy. This guy sleeps with porn stars and wants to make a space force. This is the coolest person. He's like, no.
Not who I want my president to be. That sounds like it's a TV personality.
Yeah, right.
And I want my TV personalities to be like, that's fine. But I don't want my policymakers to be like, fuck you.
But no, I'm just joking. I saw that on I think it was on a Facebook meme when someone saying, hey, if you told me that the president have all this stuff, sleeps with porn stars and wants a space force, I'd say this is the best president ever. I thought that was funny.
It's funny. It's funny, trust me. You know how much I've been laughing watching these shows? Like, I can't believe any of this is real. It's funny, but it's also fucking terrifying.
Yeah, it's pretty... What I think is probably really most pertinent here is that Donald Trump has picked 2 Supreme Court justices.
Well, one hasn't been confirmed.
That is huge. Very true, and I know he has his own issues, but at least he's had the opportunity to pick 2 Supreme Court justices.
What was the argument that Obama couldn't pick the one? Why? I mean,
he was going out of office soon, and then the Republicans just wouldn't confirm anyone that he nominated. And I think he nominated at least 1 or 2, but the Republicans were like, no, we're not even going to consider confirming any of them. just to do it because they knew he was on his way out. So they're not going to let a soon-to-be lame-duck president pick a justice who's going to be on the court for 40, 50 years. No, they're going to wait.
It's terrifying. We're living in a really weird
And
time.
we let Donald Trump pick 2.
You know he didn't pick them. Somebody handed him a list.
Well, yeah.
And they go, these are our people. Pick those people. Like, he's not that smart. Dude, he really isn't. He's there to make money. He was there, like, he got his copyrights or whatever shit approved in China. He's going to get his place in St. Petersburg, Russia, a Trump Tower.
Ooh. Oh, really? Is that what's going on?
There's a bunch of these things.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he bills the American government all the time for when he's staying at Mar-a-Lago.
Right.
So his company is making money off of the taxpayer dime.
Right. So he goes down there.
Pays for
he bills the government
and
for staying there. It's smart.
That's smart. All right.
I'm joking.
I don't know. Like you say, smart.
Bad. It's pretty bad.
Smart for him when his job is supposed to be serving the country, not yourself.
Right.
Is that smart?
Of course.
Is that smart? I think by the time when he gets out, no matter what, his family's done. I think he's doomed them.
Yeah, but elections matter. Even though I didn't vote for Donald Trump, I still say we voted for him. Even though I didn't cast a ballot.
I actively voted
as Americans.
So.
Yeah, as Americans, we voted and we did it. We did it.
No, no, we did not. No, we did not. You did. Seriously, the Electoral College is the only reason he's president. He's the only reason that, from what I understand, is Bush was president. That for the last, 8 elections or some crazy thing
Bush
like
won
this.
fair and square his second term.
Yeah. Well, I think it was still from the Electoral College. I don't know for a fact. You can't quote me on that one. But I know the first one, Al Gore won. He conceded, though. There was all the other crap. I get it. Whatever. And Florida had a big what to do in that. We're a bunch of geniuses.
Yeah, it was the Florida
Chads, the hanging Chads.
Yeah, it was Florida's Supreme Court that ruled to stop the recount, and that was,
but either way,
just be logical. Why would you stop counting votes? I mean, forget about being a lawyer, any of that. Just be logical. Just use your common sense.
Well, I thought that's what law was supposed to be about, using common sense. But then there's all this fuckery that happens. You guys with your legalese and your side speak. I don't like it.
Well, listen, not even just as a prosecutor, but just as a trial attorney, period. One of the very first things I say, either the first or last things I say to my jury is that, listen, you may hear some things that may sound confusing or legalese. Don't worry about that stuff. A lot of these things boil down to common sense.
Don't worry. You're just lulling them to sleep with your milky, silky voice. Don't worry, jury.
Don't worry about that, because a lot of times these things, many legal concepts or legal doctrines, boils down to common sense. Some of it does.
You'd think that.
Yeah.
But when I look at the current situation, I don't see it. If common sense dictates, he'd be out of office now. He probably wouldn't even be there.
What do you mean out of office?
He would not be the president because there's too many things that are stacked up against him now to go, we don't need that as our commander-in-chief.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying even our legal system's fucked.
How so?
How can they not have already gotten him out?
There's no way to.
Well, there is, but apparently without a majority in the House or the Senate, we can't. It'd be pointless.
They've done so many twistings and turnings. I'm like, what do you think that a crime he's committed that could be impeachable?
All right. I know you said the word is not necessarily a bad thing, but colluding or working with a foreign government to influence an election illegally. He called out on TV, "Hey, Russia, if you're listening." That right there. Okay. I don't understand whether there are laws in the books or not. You were saying, some things should just be common sense. If they can prove that a bunch of these people were meeting with Russian agents, like members of the Russian government, for whatever their outcome, which is to get him to be president. How is that? How is there not a problem there? Especially when you consider, and this has been proven not just by our intelligence agency, but by intelligence agencies all across the world, that Russia actively influences other countries' elections by not like tampering with their voting machines or anything, but by their television thing, RT, or through WikiLeaks, because they use that as a channel. They are it's basically psyops. They're using intelligence warfare. They even will fund Black Lives Matter movements and be like, Whitey's trying to keep you down, and like, and they'll send money, and like they have Russian trolls that will act like they're a black guy in Alabama or whatever, and then on the same note, the dude will flip over to a different account, pay the NRA. So all their whole goal, it's not just really even to support Trump. It's to sow discord. Because as long as we're over here running around like idiots fighting amongst each other, we're not over there stopping them from taking little bits and pieces of the USSR back.
Well, okay, so from what I understand and how the Russian government influenced the election is that they didn't go and change ballots, right? They didn't go to the machines and
they played people's opinions.
Right. So what they
did, played on sentiment.
Right. So what they did is go to other channels to try to persuade people's opinions, and that's been proven. That's been proven. So if anyone here assisted Russians with going to those other channels to play on people's opinions and sway them, as of right now, I really don't see how that is.
Back to Captain Obvious.
Hold on. Now, based on
Hey,
that,
Russia, if you're listening.
Right. Is that enough evidence to impeach someone? I don't think so, man. I don't see it.
Common sense.
I don't see it.
Somebody working with the Russian government who means us harm.
And even if now I was a prosecutor, doing prosecuting criminals against the state of Florida. So the federal criminal code is not my thing. So I'm going to have I would have to sift, at this moment, as I stand here, I would have to sift through the federal criminal code to see if a federal criminal law has been broken with that. I would have to actually go ahead and see if I could find one and see what
they
would
need
fall
to
on.
pass one real quick. But that ain't going to happen the way things
So
are.
even if Donald Trump and anyone in his organization did do that, I would have to go through the criminal code and figure it out.
Now, take being a lawyer away from the situation, and like I said just a minute ago, common sense. What do you think now? Like, just with your common sense.
Common sense. I mean, you can't.
Not what the law states.
I get it. Well, common sense. This is totally wrong. I mean, because if anything that the United States should hold sacred is our democratic system. How we move our course of power forward. How we move power from one organization or one party to the next, and the fair transition of power. If that starts getting compromised, we're doomed.
It is crazy, but the far right is now more supportive of the Russians than they are of people of color,
right.
Gay people. They would rather it be like Russia. And I don't know what the Russian word for it is, but they call black people in Russia the N-word, like
in their language.
Yeah. And it's just accepted.
I don't know. I don't know much about Russia.
I watched the documentary and they were like, what did they just call you? He goes, it basically means nigger, but that's just what they call black people here. Are you serious?
Yeah, I don't know much about Russia, but when we start letting foreign companies influence something as sacred as a fair election and the fair transition of power, that's a problem. That's a big problem. Common sense. That's a big problem.
Term limits. There are all these things that need to be fixed. It's so complicated, man. Not
really. You can sift through it.
Yeah, well, that's your job.
You can sift through it, like term. You think should be more presidential term limits, or like in Congress?
Congress.
Yeah, that's
No,
tough.
yeah, they're guys who are 500 years old. They shouldn't be there.
Yeah, that's tough. They have. Is it unlimited term limits?
Yes.
That's crazy.
And then
That
the
is
whole with the
crazy.
lobbyist thing. Once you leave, you can come back and lobby for whatever interest you want.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it goes both ways. Somebody who used to be a lobbyist is now a top-ranking government official. It's like you shouldn't be able to do that. All the conflicts of interest that are happening that people say shouldn't be conflicts of interest, like the fact that the president should not have businesses, like his sons are attending to them and they won't talk about it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think that's crazy. I mean, that's clear an emolument violations where a president can't have business interests and to where his policies would affect his business interests. You have to completely divulge yourself from that. So if you ask me to believe that 1 second that Donald Trump is completely divested from his business and not wanting to make policies that will assist his business, I'm not that gullible. I don't have any proof of it.
No, but come on, again, common sense.
Yeah, I'm not that.
At what point are we? This is where the legal thing gets stupid to me. Because you're like, well, because it wasn't written down on a piece of paper, I guess it's okay to do a genocide. Like, fuck you, man. I'm tired of this shit. People need to just like, all right, well, there's no law. Let's make one.
Yeah.
But it's too hard to do that. Because then you're gonna who's gonna pay for it? The rich people don't want that shit.
You know, policy changes and lawmaking is such a slow process. It needs to be quicker.
It does. There needs to be some other. I think I believe one person, one vote, and I think that if you can pay your bills online and you can do all that, there should be a way that we should all be able to vote online, and that your vote is that's it. There's no representative that looks at your vote and goes, well, I know you voted that way, but I'm going to vote this way just because.
Let me tell you something. I think when a lot of right wingers they hate Obamacare because they don't want the government controlling everything. I agree just with that one sentence because when the government starts controlling something, it's like horrendous. Like you say, if we can do so many things online, right? And a private company can streamline something to make it so easy. But the moment the government goes into something, it's terrible. Look, go to the public health
that's
department.
Complicated because you're dealing with when you say the government messes things up or whatever. Okay, but they also did something where if you had a pre-existing condition, before people could turn you away. But what's the point of having insurance if you're healthy?
Now the actual policies of healthcare, that's a totally different story. But if you just go into your like the public health department, it's a nightmare. Go into your DMV, it's a nightmare. So when the government runs an agency or runs something, it's just hard to get things done.
I can agree with that. I just think that
voting. Why do you have to go and vote in this box? And I remember the Chad thing. I think we got rid of that.
Or it should just be go online and click.
Yeah, it's like this such an archaic system. Why can't we have something that's more?
People are like afraid that it'll get hacked. But what about everybody's bank accounts and shit? Is what I'm saying. It's exactly. It can't be that much different.
There must be some security protocol that you can go through to make voting easier, more secure.
But and they don't want to. That's the whole point of gerrymandering too. They make it harder for black people to vote. They make it harder.
Yeah.
Depending on what neighborhood, they draw these weird lines and.
That's it's a whole other story. Yeah.
And
zoning. Yeah.
They'd rather you not vote because the
course.
less people that vote, the easier it is for them to control the vote and so on.
Of course,
and so
absolutely.
You guys, please out there educate yourselves on these topics. I know it's so boring. I'm bored to death sitting here talking about it, but it's necessary because if we don't vote, if we don't look into these things, if we're not educating ourselves on it, we're going to end up with someone. You thought George W. Bush was the dumbest person that could ever be president? Well, guess what? They trumped you. They trumped that shit, didn't they?
You watching Terry Productions.